This isn't just a story about an orphanage. It's a story about the children we threw away and the monsters we let wear crosses. It happened in broad daylight, while church bells rang, while hymns played, while people believed. Behind the stone walls of St. Joseph's Orphanage in Vermont, children screamed. Children disappeared. And no one listened. But they're listening now, because this is the story of how faith was used as a weapon, and how decades later, the children, now adults, are crawling out of the dark to speak the truth that was beaten out of them. The year was 1899. A majestic stone orphanage stood tall in Burlington, Vermont, run by the Sisters of Providence. To the town, it looked holy. To the children, it was hell. Mary Cerise remembers praying every night, not to thank God, but to survive another day. The children weren't treated like kids. They were treated like animals. Beaten with belts, stripped, starved. Some were locked in closets for days. Others were burned for wetting the bed. A little boy, just 6 years old, died after falling from a window. The nuns said it was an accident. But one child whispered, "She pushed him." You have to understand, these weren't isolated events. This was routine. This was normal. Behind the church doors. In the 1940s through the 60s, things got darker, and more children vanished. They always said the same thing. He ran away. She was adopted. They disobeyed and were taken by the devil. But some never left a paper trail. Not a single document. Not a single goodbye. One survivor says she watched a nun hold a child underwater. She just stopped moving, she said. No one helped her. Another child, David, says he watched two nuns carry a body into the woods. He was 8. He never saw that boy again. But what could an 8-year-old do? Who would believe him over a nun? They told the children that if they told anyone, Satan would come for them, that God would stop loving them, that no one would ever believe a little liar. And so, they stayed silent for decades. In the 1990s, the first cracks appeared. Former residents began talking, quietly, anonymously. Investigations were launched, then dropped. Files went missing. The church claimed ignorance, and the pain stayed buried. But in 2018, everything changed. A BuzzFeed article dropped like a bomb. We saw nuns kill children. It was real. It was raw. And it opened the floodgates. Dozens came forward. Their stories matched, even though they'd never met. One woman said her little sister was thrown from a 3rd-story window. The nun said she tripped, but her bones didn't lie. St. Joseph's eventually shut down. It's now a senior home. But the screams, they never really left. Locals report hearing crying, seeing children's shadows, even smelling burning hair. Maybe it's just ghosts, or maybe it's guilt that refuses to be buried. When the survivors demanded justice, the world shrugged. They filed lawsuits. Most were dismissed. No nuns were arrested. No one ever said, "I'm sorry." Vermont launched a task force in 2020. They found graves, unmarked, DNA that matched missing children. The church claimed the records burned in a fire, but the survivors say the truth burned in their hearts. They formed a group, Children of Silence. They speak. They grieve. They remember. One woman read a letter to her 7-year-old self. "You didn't deserve this. You were just a little girl, and you were good, even if no one believed you. You might think this story is over, that the children grew up, that the orphanage is closed, that the pain faded, but it didn't. The survivors still can't sleep through the night. Some can't touch water. Others can't walk past a church. They never got justice. They got survival. They got scars and silence, and the world moved on. But every now and then, when the wind is just right, they say you can hear footsteps in the orphanage halls, a child's cry, a nun's whisper. What do we do with stories like this? Do we bury them? Dismiss them? Or do we finally listen? If history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And behind every closed institution, there could be another St. Joseph's. It's up to us to open the doors, to pull back the curtain, to believe the unbelievable. Because the survivors of St. Joseph's, they're not just stories. They were children. And all they ever wanted was to be loved. If you or someone you know is a survivor of institutional abuse, you are not alone. You deserve to speak, to be heard, to heal. This has been History Undercover. Thank you for watching. Thank you for remembering. And thank you for not turning away.